Hi folks, welcome to my regulars, and for those of you who are walking through the doors for the first time, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different here. We're not going to be making a cocktail. We're going to be doing something rather interesting. What is in here? Well, the leaves that are in here are ones that you might think of as actually going in stews or soups or something of that type. It's actually bay leaves. So, on this episode, over a few takes actually, because of the time needed to make this, we are going to be making Allorino. What's Allorino? Good question. Everybody know limoncello? Everybody knows limoncello. Strong alcohol, grain alcohol, lemon peels. Grain alcohol extracts all the oils, the essential oils out of lemon peels, get this very alcoholic, you know, because it's strong. 90, what are we talking about? 90 proof? Yeah, 90 proof? 90 proof? Ah, fuck. What is this? 95% alcohol, 190 proof. Where you multiply it. Okay. Keep getting those ones back to front sometimes. And then you dilute that with some form of sweet syrup. Okay. Now, when I was in Italy, in Florence, in April of the year that this one's being filmed, as it were, I noticed on the tables in the restaurant there was a yellow bottle, and it was just in a plastic bottle. But there was also a green one, and I'd never seen that before, so I grabbed the green one and loved the flavour. It was absolutely fantastic. Limoncello, bit of a digestive. Anyway, it turns out the green stuff that I was drinking was Allorino, and that is basically using bay leaves. So, what we have here is how do we get to that point? So, this one here, this is about 3 cups. It's one of these bottles with about 60 bay leaves in it, and it's been sitting for about 3 weeks actually. And what has happened, as you can see, is the colour and the essential oils from the bay leaves have been extracted. Now, they're not your dry bay leaves, they are fresh bay leaves, okay? So that's what was in here. Now, I'll show you what the bay leaves look like. Let's see if I can get one now. I don't know. There we go. So let me show you in comparison what has actually happened. Look at that. Look how it's extracted all the colour, all the essential oils, and it's now in this liquor here. Now, oh, that wasn't a good idea. So, to get all those essential oils out, you need a high proof alcohol. Vodka really won't do it. Now, many places throughout the world, you're going to be able to get your hands on some form of grain alcohol. As I said, this is actually 190 proof. This is 95% alcohol. This is not something you're generally going to be drinking straight like this. And I love the name of this one. This is Everclear, this one. Okay, I'll show you how we put that one together. But let's get this out of here. Now, what this was, this is about 750 millilitres. It's about 3 cups of alcohol that went into this. Now that we have that, we need to now put it into, we need to mix it with a simple syrup. Because of this quantity, the simple syrup is a 1-to-1 ratio. And of course, we're going to dilute the alcohol with this simple syrup. So this was 4.5 cups of sugar and 4.5 cups of water. Oh my goodness, it is definitely sweet, but remember, we'll talk about how this gets served later on in this video after another couple of weeks, okay? Alright, so all I'm going to do is I am actually going to just pour out, look at this colour of this liquor, into the simple syrup here, okay? And you're not going to be able to see any of the colour that's going to be in here, whoops. Because, I will show you that in a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these leaves out. They're all out of there. And I'm going to show you how to start again. So, I have about 60 bay leaves. 60 or so. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump them in here. That's it. Because it's actually simple to do. If you can get your hands on the fresh bay leaves, that is. Younger, fresher ones are clearly better. You know, as you're trying to get them from a supermarket, you are limited from what you can actually get, okay? So there's our bay leaves, your alcohol. Oh my goodness. Smells like rubbing alcohol, it really does. And all that you're doing is just dumping this in here. Glug, 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 glug. There we go. In she goes. You know what? I think I'm going to take some out of that actually, because I know that I think it was 500 millilitres that I actually put in here, but doesn't matter. You know what? We'll leave it. Which means that this might be a little bit on the sweet side actually, but we can deal with that. All right. That's a bit of a cock up, isn't it? So this is about 500 millilitres. This is probably a little bit sweeter than it should be, but what the hell? You know what? I'm going to be doing it again, and I will use exactly the same amount, and it'll all come out in the wash as it were. All right. Now that you've got this in here, all you're going to do is you're going to leave this in a dark place for 2 to 3 weeks. I am actually, you know what, I'm going to take 250 ml out of this one, and then I'm going to adjust the simple syrup and actually do the next one about right. Now what you're going to do is you're actually going to leave this, I'm going to put it into these bottles and you'll see what the colour is once I do it in here. I'm not going to do it down here because it is very messy. If I spill this, it's sticky, it's horrible. So give me 1 minute, I'm going to rush upstairs and I'm going to get this put into those, okay? And okay, coming back, there they are. Alright, now these were already heat treated, so they were disinfected? They were clean anyway. But there's our Allorino. Now what we're going to do is we're going to leave this for another couple of weeks. I'm going to put this in a dark place. So I'm going to put it in the fridge. And I'm going to leave that for a couple of weeks, and then what I'm going to do is we'll then transfer it to some nice looking bottles actually. Now you can put it straight into bottles. I didn't have the bottles yet, but let's see, in the miracle of magic of timing, I'll probably just appear and hey presto, I've got some bottles in front of me. Okay, so we're going to leave this one. I took a little bit of the extra alcohol out of this one, so we're going to leave this for 2 weeks as well, and we're going to extract additional loveliness out of these little babies here. Okay, we'll see what happens next then, okay? Cheers! So what did happen? Well, festive season's over. No more of the Christmas decorations around about here. Rest down a little bit smarter, even although I do feel as though I'm actually from the Sound of Music with what I'm actually wearing just now. Captain, I think, by the looks of it. Still maybe need a digestive though. So, what happened to the Allorino? Before we actually go into the tasting and showing what it looks like in a bottle, it looks like that, by the way. Let's just go over what the recipe was, since it was a bit up and down there. So it's about 60 fresh bay leaves, young, fresh, green bay leaves that are crammed full of herbaceous flavour. If you can't get bay leaves, get laurel leaves, okay? If you get that one. And about 500 millilitres of high octane alcohol, around about 190 proof, 95% alcohol, higher the better. You can get away with vodka, but it takes much longer. You're better with something like Everclear. It was about 500 millilitres, that's just over 2 cups. Okay, so about 2 cups alcohol, 60 bay leaves. After you've left that for 2 to 3 weeks, then you're going to dilute it down with simple syrup. Now if you're using 4.5 cups of sugar to 4.5 cups of water, that gives you a 1-to-1 simple syrup. Now if you want to, you can cut back on the sugar to make it less sweet, but those ratios that you're going to get of the alcohol to that overall simple syrup, you should end up with a liqueur that's around about 35% alcohol overall. So still very strong, 1-to-1, sweetness cuts through a little bit of that strength, but if you don't like it that sweet, as I said, you can cut back, maybe make it a, what did I say there, it was 4.5, maybe make it 3 cups of sugar. to 4.5 cups of water. You certainly want to keep it at that same liquid ratio overall, otherwise it's going to end up being too strong. Alright, here it is. That's what it looks like after you've bottled. It's a nice little bottle here. And there's actually, you can see, what's interesting is there's bits floating around in it. If you leave it, it'll settle for a bit, so you need to give it a little bit of a shake. Now it will keep for 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. Anything longer than that, you might be chancing it a little bit. If you do leave it in the fridge for a while, I said as it settles, but because it's so viscous with the sweetness, it may look as though it actually congeals into lumps in there. Just give it a shake and it's fine, you'll be okay. Note to everybody, I've knackered the bar. Look at that. What was that? Watch what you're doing with your high alcohol spirits. I just stripped the varnish off the top of the bar here, unfortunately, with that. So we'll need to get around to fixing that. Alright, let's get to tasting. Nice little liqueur glass, or if you want to, you can use some type of shot glass as well. We're going to go with the liqueur glass here, okay? Pop that up. And you'll see as it pours, it has that kind of viscous pour to it as well. And as you say, if you ever hear anybody talking about the legs on wine or on spirits, that's the streaks that come down the side. The thicker, slower that they actually dissipate relates to how quick how much sugar content there is. And I'll keep going. That's a new one. I'll need to make sure that phone doesn't ring in the future, okay? Alright, I was just talking about the legs on wine or alcohol. That's telling you how much sugar content is in it. The thicker they are and the slower they dissipate are down around the sides of the glass. That gives you an idea of the sweetness of it. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it there. These glasses aren't the best for looking at it. But here we go. Allorino. Clearly, I've had a few tastes of this already. Strong, alcohol, sweet, great. It's a liqueur, why the hell not? Flavour though. There's a not peppermint, there's a peppery type flavour to it. I wouldn't say it's overly herbaceous. There is, it's funny, I started talking about it that way, but there is a kind of mintiness at the end. It isn't mint, it's not peppermint. There's just a subtle sort of mintness there. Pepper, herbaceous. There's a little bit of a berry flavour to it as well. I'm trying to put my, maybe even a little bit of a junipery type flavour to it as well, but not dry, not away in that extreme, you know. It's a fresh flavour. It's a digestif, you know. It's got to be fresh. You're kind of cleansing the palate at the same time as well. Yeah, it's very sweet, so you probably want something after it anyway, just to get that sweetness away. Overall though, you know what? It's really nice. If you've been used to limoncello and you like that type of liqueur, push yourself a little bit. Try Allorino. Who would have thunk the bay leaves, as I said at the very beginning, that you would put into a stew, dried ones anyway. You can make a drink like this fresh. This is friggin' awesome. Maybe a hint of licorice in there as well, actually. I'm not a licorice, I'm not a sort of aniseed type person, but there is a little bit of that black licorice lingering a little bit in there as well. So peppery, subtle hints of mint there as well, maybe a slight bit of licorice. And what can you actually say? Well, it probably tastes like what a bay leaf is meant to taste like if you actually just ate one, you know? So anyway, everybody, knock a few of these up, put them in smaller bottles, give them out to people. Temperature, by the way, serve it well chilled. Okay, this only is good served chilled, okay? Keep it in the fridge as well. Anyway, everybody, enjoy your Allorinos. It's good.